Public Act Number 10175, Cybercrime Prevention Act of 2012. What is cybercrime law? Cybercrime law are laws that create offenses and penalties for cybercrimes. Cybercrime describes crimes directed at computer, data, or information communication technologies, or ICTs, and crimes committed by people using computers, or ICTs. Enacted by the Senate and House of Representatives of the Philippines and Congress assembled May 30, 2012. Date ratified September 12, 2012. Under the administration of Benigno Aquino III, 15th Congress. Declaration of the policy. The state recognizes the vital role of information and communications industries such as content production, telecommunications, broadcasting, electronic commerce, and data processing in the nation's overall social and economic development. Now for the definition of terms. Communication refers to the transmission of information through ICT media, including voice, video, and other forms of data. Cyber refers to a computer or a computer network, the electronic medium in which online communication takes place. Data processing, the converting of raw data to machine-readable form and its subsequent processing. Section 5. Other offenses. The following acts shall also constitute an offense. A. Aiding or abetting in the commission of cybercrime. Any person who willfully abets or aids the commission of any of the offenses enumerated in this act shall be held liable. Attempt in the commission of cybercrime. Any person who willfully attempts to commit any of the offenses enumerated in this act shall be held liable. And now what's inside section number 6? All crimes defined and penalized by the revised penal code as amended and special laws is committed by, through, and with the use of information and communications technologies shall be covered by the relevant provisions of this act, provided that the penalty to be imposed shall be 1 degree higher than that provided for by the revised penal code as amended and special laws as the case may be. Now for section 7, liability under other laws. Prosecution under this act shall be without prejudice or any liability for violations of any provisions of the revised penal code as amended or special laws.
Section 15. Search, seizure, and examination of computer data. Where a search and seizure warrant is properly issued, the law enforcement authorities shall likewise have the following powers and duties. Within the time period specified in the warrant, to conduct interception as defined in this act, and to secure a computer system or a computer data storage medium, to make and retain a copy of those computer data secured, to maintain the integrity of the relevant stored computer data, to conduct forensic analysis or examination of the computer data storage medium, and to render inaccessible or remove those computer data in the access computer or computer and communications network. Section 13. Preservation of computer data. The integrity, traffic data, and subscriber information relating to communication services provided by a service provider shall be preserved for a minimum period of 6 months from the date of the transaction. Content data shall be similarly preserved for 6 months from the date of receipt of the order from law enforcement authorities requiring its preservation. Law enforcement authorities may order a one-time extension for another 6 months, provided that once computer data preserved, transmitted, or stored by a service provider is used as evidence in a case, the mere furnishing to such service provider of the transmittal document to the office of the prosecutor shall be deemed a notification to preserve the computer data until the termination of the case. The service provider ordered to preserve computer data shall keep confidential the order and its compliance. Section 17. Destruction of computer data. Upon expiration of the period as provided in Section 13 and 15, service providers and law enforcement authorities, as the case may be, shall immediately and completely destroy the computer data subject of a preservation and examination. Section 28. Implementing rules and regulations. The ICTO, DOST, the DOJ, and the Department of the Interior and Local Government DILG shall jointly formulate the necessary rules and regulations within 90 days from approval of this Act for its effective implementation. Section 20. Extent of liability of a service provider. Except as otherwise provided in this section, no person or party shall be subject to any civil or criminal liability in respect of the computer data for which the person or party acting as a service provider merely provides access if such liability is founded on A. The obligations and liabilities of the parties under a computer data. B. The making, publication, dissemination, or distribution of such computer data or any statement made in such computer data, including possible infringement or any right subsisting or in relation to such computer data, provided that any obligation arising from contract, the obligation of the service provider is such under a licensing or other regulatory regime established under law, any obligation imposed under any law, or the civil liability to any party to the extent that such liability forms the basis from injunctive relief issued by a court under any law requiring that the service provider take or refrain from actions necessary to remove, block, or deny access to any computer data or to preserve evidence of a violation of law.
Section 27. Powers and Functions. The CICC shall have the following powers and functions. A. Formulate a national cybersecurity plan and extend immediate assistance for the suppression of real-time commission of cybercrime offenses through a computer emergency response, the CERT. B. Coordinate the preservation of appropriate and effective measures to prevent and suppress cybercrime activities as provided for in Act. C. Monitor cybercrime cases being handled by participating law enforcement and prosecution agencies. D. Participate in international cooperation and intelligence investigations, training, and capacity building related to cybercrime prevention, suppressions, and prosecution through the DOJ Office of Cybercrime. A. Coordinate the support and participation of the business sector, local governments unit, and NGOs and cybercrime prevention program on other related projects. F. Recommend the enactment of appropriate laws, insurance measures, and policies. J. Call upon any government agency to render assistance in the accomplishment of the CICC's mandated tasks and functions, which establish and perform community awareness program and in cybercrime risk prevention in coordination with law enforcement authorities and stakeholders, and I. Perform all other matters related to cybercrime prevention. Section 30. Duties of a service provider. The following are the duties of a service provider. A. Preserve the integrity of traffic data and subscribers' information for a minimum period of 6 months from the date of the transaction. B. Preserve the integrity of contents data of 6 months from the date of receipt of the order from law enforcement of competent authorities requiring its preservation. C. Preserve the integrity of computer data for an extended period of 6 months from the date of receipt of the order from law enforcement or competent authorities requiring extension on its preservation. D. Preserve the integrity of computer data until the final termination of the case and or order by the court. As the case may be, upon receipt of the copy of the transmittal documents to the office of the prosecutor. A. Ensure the confidentiality of the preservation orders and its compliance. F. Collect a record by technical or electronic means and or cooperate and assist law enforcement or competent authorities in the collection or recording of computers data that are associated with specified communication transmitted by means of a computer system. In relation to Section 13 thereof, G. Disclose or submit subscribers' information, traffic data or relevant data in each possession or control to law enforcement or competent authorities within 72 hours after receipt of order and or copy of the court warrant. F. Report to the DOJ Office of Cybercrime Competence with the prevention of the Chapter 4 of the Act and Rule 7 and 8 thereof. I. Immediately and completely destroy the computer data of a preservation and examination after the expiration of the period provided in Section 13 and 15 of the Act, and G. Perform such other duties as may be security and proper to carry into effect the provisions of the Act.
Section 9. Corporate liability. When any of the punishable acts herein defined are knowingly committed on behalf of or for the benefit of a juridical person, by natural person acting either individually or as part of an organ of the juridical person, who has a leading position within, based on a power of representation of the juridical person, provided the act committed falls within the scope of such authority. B. An authority to take decisions on behalf of the juridical person, provided that the act committed falls within the scope of such authority. Or C. An authority to exercise control within the juridical person. The juridical person shall be held liable for a fine equivalent to at least double the fines imposable in Section 7 up to a maximum of 10 million pesos. Section 21. Jurisdiction. The regional trial court shall have jurisdiction over any violation of the provisions of this Act, including any violation committed by a Filipino national regardless of the place of commission. Jurisdiction shall lie if any of the elements was committed within the Philippines or committed with the use of any computer system wholly or partly situated in the country, or when by such commission any damage in cost to a natural or juridical person who at the same time the offense was committed was in the Philippines. There shall be designated special cybercrime courts manned by specially trained judges to handle cybercrime cases. Loopholes. The battle against the cybercrime law before the Supreme Court began with the petitioners citing the unconstitutionality and dangers of the law. Recommendations in RA 10175, Philippines recognizes the need to protect and safeguard the integrity of computer and communication systems, networks and databases, and the confidentiality, integrity, and availability of information and data stored therein from all forms of misuse, abuse, and illegal access by making punishable. Conclusion. The Philippine Congress enacted Republic Act No. 10175 or Cybercrime Prevention Act of 2012, which completely addressed crimes committed against and by means of computer system on 12 September 2012. It includes penal substantive rules, procedural rules, and also rules on international cooperation.
Thank you for watching.